For more on this, we are joined by Bishop Garrison, fellow at the National Security Institute at George Mason School of Law and former senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense. He is joining us live from Alexandria, Virginia. Bishop, welcome back to WION. Do you think the United States is playing a much bigger game here, considering that China is possibly way ahead, at least economically, in its presence in Africa?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Susan. There are so many factors at play here that really need to be taken into account. First, when you talk about the rare earth minerals, the critical minerals that are at stake within the African continent, it's really important to understand, as you mentioned, that China has taken many years and efforts economically to invest within countries in the African continent to have some level of control over those critical minerals. Those minerals are used in every type of emerging and current technology that you can think of. And it's a national security imperative that the United States has the ability to curb Chinese influence on the continent. So this is also at a time in which you see more broadly that China is doing everything it can to kind of flex its muscles and expand its influence globally. We see that just in the Iran-Saudi talks that China allegedly helped broker a potential peace deal there. We see it in the Honduran president in Latin America announcing within the last couple of days that Honduras is going to look to build its economic and political ties with China. So the African continent is no different. China has done everything it's able to do over the past several years to build its influence there, both economically and from a security perspective. And it's important for the United States to push back on that.
And what about militarily? The United States seems to be ahead when it comes to its military presence in the African continent, and it's been there at least before 9/11. Do you think that it's expanding its military presence in Africa, and do you think African nations are embracing this presence?
I think the United States military has taken an opportunity, along with our diplomatic corps, to normalize ties there, to ensure that African nations have the ability to demonstrate their own political will and to establish their own paths forward within the world. And relying on countries, on authoritarian regimes like Russia and in mercenary groups, quite frankly, like the Wagner Group, and relying on authoritarians like China is problematic. And we want to ensure that these countries have the ability to determine their own future.
Bishop Garrison, fellow at the National Security Institute at George Mason School of Law, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to speaking to you again very soon on WION.
Thank you for having me.